Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down the playbook for one of the most dramatic stories in business, the corporate turnaround.
You've seen this story a million times, right? A corporate giant is on the ropes, its future looks totally bleak, and then, somehow, a stunning comeback. So what's the secret? A genius new product? A lucky break? Or is it something much, much more fundamental?
Look, you can have the best strategy in the world, but the data is crystal clear. The single most powerful catalyst for a real, lasting turnaround isn't some plan on paper. It's a new face in the corner office.
And that's not just a gut feeling. It's a hard number, 70%. That is how many successful corporate turnarounds are driven by a change in management. The lesson here is simple. If you want to understand the turnaround, you absolutely have to understand the new leader.
Okay, so let's get specific. When we say new leadership, it's easy to just picture that one heroic CEO. But the spark for change can actually come from a few different places.
The change can really come from a lot of different angles. Sure, there's the famous new CEO, but it could also be a new head of ops who finally untangles a messy supply chain, or a refreshed board that starts asking the really tough questions. It might even be a private equity team that comes in with the very specific, proven playbook. Each one of these is like a flare going up, signaling that the status quo is officially over.
But here's the thing. Just seeing a new name on the door isn't enough. A new leader is a catalyst, yeah, but not all catalysts spark a positive reaction. So here's the framework for telling a true turnaround artist from, well, an empty suit.
So how can you personally spot a credible leader before all the results are in? This isn't about gut instinct. It's about asking the right questions. And the analysis always starts with their track record.
Here's your checklist. First up, have they actually managed a turnaround before, or did they just ride a wave of growth? Second, do they really know the industry, or are they facing a massive learning curve? Third, are they an operator, someone who gets their hands dirty, or are they just a strategist? And maybe most importantly, can they actually change the company's culture? A yes to these is a green light. A no is a serious red flag.
Now, beyond the leader, you have to scrutinize their plan. Be really wary of a vague vision that's just stuffed with buzzwords. Be skeptical of anyone promising a quick fix for problems that have been around for years. And definitely watch out for a one-trick pony strategy. You know, a plan that's all about slashing costs with no real vision for growth. These are the classic signs of a turnaround that's destined to fail.
Okay, so let's say you have a credible leader and a solid plan. The next test is patience. A real turnaround isn't a sprint. It's a marathon, and it has 4 very distinct, predictable phases.
This journey almost always follows the same path. First, you have to stabilize. You stop the bleeding and restore some basic confidence. You just can't build a new house on a crumbling foundation. Only then can you start to reposition the company with a new strategy. And notice this, real growth doesn't even kick in until year 3 or 4. This is the phase that tests everyone's nerve. But getting here is how true value is ultimately created. As you can see, patience isn't just a virtue here. It's a flat-out requirement. And if you want a textbook example, just look at Microsoft under Satya Nadella. He didn't come in promising some quick fix. He spent his first years stabilizing the culture and completely repositioning the entire company around that cloud-first vision. Then came the growth acceleration. The result? A stunning 500% return in over 6 years. That's the playbook, executed to absolute perfection.
But let's be real, for every Microsoft, there are so many others that just don't make it. It's crucial to end with a dose of realism and look at the most common failure patterns. Why do so many promising plans fall completely short?
You know, every failed turnaround starts with a great promise, a compelling new story. But then it just collides with a harsh reality. The beautiful strategy on paper, it hits an execution gap. That optimistic timeline, it shatters against unexpected complexity. And most often, the bold new vision crashes right into the brick wall of an old resistant culture. This chasm, right here, between the promise and the pitfall, is where hope dies.
So here's a final thought. Armed with this playbook, the next time you read a headline about a major leadership change, you'll see more than just a name. You'll see the beginning of a process. You'll know the questions to ask, the signs to look for,
and you'll be able to spot the difference between a simple headline and a true catalyst in the making. Thanks for joining the Explainer.